So, this is it. We've entered a new phase on this channel. A new 15 games. With Mogis, God of Slaughter. Your choice, people. With the overwhelming amount of votes, Mogis, God of Slaughter, is the chosen commander. In a little deck I like to call Plastic Cactus's Mogis Journey. So let's get to the deck tech over here. There's nothing all that interesting over in the land pile other than I finally purchased a Nykthos Shrine to Nyx, which should be pretty great in this two-color deck with a fuckload of enchantments just sitting out and about. And yeah, I'm running Valakut because I've got a bunch of mountains. I think I'm playing 12 or 13 mountains, which is enough when my whole goal of this deck is to blast my opponent in the face as much as possible. Valakut could, in theory, do some work late game if it gets to late game. Otherwise, everything is pretty standard. And I've got a ton of artifact ramp, just so much, because I have a lot of X spells that I want to pump up and do like 20 to 30 damage in one go with these motherly fuckers. So yeah, that's the deal with that. Nothing all that interesting except I'm playing extra planar lens without snow mountains and snow swamps. I guess I could play snow swamps and it's probably smarter, but snow swamps I don't believe trigger Valakut, or at least I don't know. I'm not sure. So I don't want to risk it and look like an idiot. I'd rather have Valakut than the extra planar lens. If it helps my opponent sometimes, so be it. If anyone knows in the comments if the snow mountains do still work with Valakut, then I'll trade it out on a future date. Okay, moving on, because everything else is pretty obvious. I've got 4 Planeswalkers. Karn, because he is the best of all the Commander Planeswalkers. Sorin, because disgusting -3. Target opponent's life total becomes 10. And at that point, I've got so much burn, 10 damage shouldn't be difficult to do. Chandra Nalaar, mainly because of her -8 ability. And in a pinch, she deals with a really horrible creature when I don't have any sort of board wipe offhand, but again, mainly for her -8, dealing 10 damage to a player, and every creature he or she controls is too good to pass up when it only takes me 3 turns to do it with Chandra out. I think I can handle it. And Koth, I love Koth. I think Koth is great. -5 him, it turns all my mountains into an alternate win condition. Sounds good to me. And also, if I really had to, I could -2 him for another huge burst for these X spells. Hey, speaking of these X spells, here are these X spells. We've got Banefire, no Blaze, you might have noticed. I wanted to do something a little bit interesting. You know, the closest to Blaze I have is Gitu Fire. But let's go down again. Banefire, I like it, and it can't be countered if I play it late game, which should be relevant. Devil's Play, hey, a spell so nice, you cast it twice. Look at that mischievous little devil. Is that really how devils play, by dumping lava onto people? What a fun game indeed. Okay, Earthquake, this also doubles as a board wipe. So I'm using that, well, for the most part. There's that flying creature clause, but Red Sun Zenith, this will come back in theory. I keep doing it, it comes back. Also exiles a creature, which could be relevant in Commander quite often. There are graveyard shenanigans. The Bazooka Bog's in here somewhere. Yeah, like I said, the most basic Gitu Fire. It's just Blaze, except I pay 2, it's an instant if I have to take care of a crazy creature now or something. Comet Storm, that's another one that, like, I could take care of a player and one of his creatures at the same time for paying 3. Seems like a pretty good deal to me. Exsanguinate, gonna need some life gain. I have a lot of cards that affect me in my life as well, so Exsanguinate is a must play. I wish there were more cards like it that didn't require black mana played because I have a fear that I will kill myself 1 or 2 times with this deck, because it's very volatile. Rakdos has returned. That's right, baby. You asked, and he's here, returning to you one more time. So, do a bunch of damage, get rid of your opponent's cards. Yes, that seems good. And then I've got the non-X burn department over here. Shrine of the Burning Rage. Not a good late game draw, but a very good early game draw, provided my opponent doesn't remove it with his artifact removal. But then again, if he's wasting his artifact removal on the shrine, I think I can handle that. Blightning, simply because, I mean, you know, discard's always fun, and this is a very efficient card. 3 damage, who knows, maybe it'll win me the game with that 3 extra damage. But the real reason I'm playing Blightning is because back when this was in Standard, I couldn't get enough of it. I love the card, and I'm excited to play a commander deck wherein I can utilize the card once more. And then Staff of Inin. Yeah. Card draw, but not just that. That 1 damage when you are playing Death Pits of Wrath, pretty relevant. But we'll get to you later, you crazy skeleton. What are you looking at? What is that impaled on a spike? Just a piece of cloth? Is that what that is? Do you miss your cloth? I don't understand what's happening here, but it's disgusting. Let's never speak of it again. I have some utility enchantment-based burn supporters, such as Everlasting Torment, no life gain, no, you can't prevent my damage, and I don't really care about Wither, but maybe that'll be relevant once or twice. Furnace of Wrath. Hey, I do a lot of damage in this deck. Let's double it. Curse of Bloodletting. Hey, I do a lot of damage in this deck. Let's double it. Leyline of Punishment. Same deal as the Everlasting Torment, except if it's in my opening hand, it cheats out onto the battlefield. Sounds good. Sulfuric Vortex. So, doing 2 damage per turn to each person. That's going to benefit me more than it will benefit my opponent. And again, no life gain. Life gain would obviously be very difficult. Something like Aloro, and those are so popular online. Aloro is everywhere, and I hate to suffer the embarrassment of losing to Aloro since I never have. And then I have my 10 creatures. Now, if you recall, in my rule set for this deck, I'm not allowed to have more than 10 creatures, and all the creatures must either, they have to involve burn in some way, either supporting my burn, making my burn more interesting, or burning themselves. Not burning themselves, setting themselves on fire, obviously, but they can burn themselves. All right, now that I cleared up that hard conundrum, here's the Satyr Fire Dancer. I'm not really sure about him, but he's new, so I'll try him out. I like his fire chain. I mean, that's gotta count for something, right? His heart, the coal. His eye, the spark. His hand, the whirling flame. Yeah, he's a whirling flame, all right. Anyway, I do a bunch of damage to my opponent with a bunch of X spells or whatever, and then I get to copy it to a pesky creature. I don't see why that's not so bad. This is my artifact removal that also burns. Yeah, that's right. Destroy an artifact, do the damage. So, one of the few ways this deck has of taking care of the trinket business while still fitting the rules. Obsidian Fireheart. This guy seems fun. He turns my opponent's mountains into little burn fountains. I did not ever even hear of this creature. I kind of laid low during the initial Zendikar, and I never saw this played, ever. So I was quite surprised when I was looking up creatures for this deck, and I came across him. He might be terrible. We'll see. I don't know how good. I feel like if I go all in with him, he'll be better. Turn all my opponent's lands into little fountains of terror and then keep board wiping. That could be a very fun way to win. But if I don't go all in with him and I'm using my mana for other stuff, I feel like he's not even going to be worth it. But we'll find out. I could be completely off base and wrong. Never seen him played before. Fire Servant, yeah. Double my burn spells. Thank you. Artless Hidetsugu. Yeah, this is another one that I have to be careful of because it affects me as well. But half everybody's life makes these spells a hell of a lot better. Charmbreaker Devils. Hey, you know what? Let's get all my insane amounts of burn spells back. How many times do I have to say the word burn? I'm not going to call it burn anymore. I'm going to call it flamies. Get all my flamies back with the Charmbreaker Devils, and he gets pumped a bit for my efforts. That's pretty cool. Flame Blast Dragon, why don't you attack and blaze at the same time? Okay, I will. Also, I'm a dragon. Hostility. I think this is going to be a really fun one. This turns all my flamies into 3/1 elemental shamans. And I think that might be an even more fun way to win. Just running in with a shit ton of 3/1s. Bogarden Hellkite. Do a bunch of oopsie poopsie damage to all the creatures and the players and anything I want it to. And I can flash it in. Magmatic Force. It's like, this spell over here. And it's one of the new commander cards. And he's a 7/7, so that's pretty relevant. That can block pretty much everything. And I'm dealing 6 damage a cycle, a set of turns to my opponent. Yeah. And Stuffy Doll. This is utility, not just for blocking, but for spells like Blasphemous Act, or Magma Quake, or Earthquake. I've got enough of them where it turns my flamey spells into double damage. And then I've got my board wipes. Well, and Slagstorm. It's not going to wipe many boards, but who knows? I could get a token deck. Oblivion Stone. This is a very important artifact to have in this deck because I have no way to deal with enchantments besides this card right here. I'm fairly certain. So I'm a little worried about enchantments. Magma Quake, as mentioned before, and then Breaking Point. So this is an either or. I'm fine if I get to wipe the board, or I'm fine if I'm doing even more damage to my opponent for a measly 3 mana. I haven't seen this spell played in a dog's age, so I'm happy to incorporate it here. Black Sun Zenith, board wipe. Damnation, board wipe. Decree of Pain, board wipe, card draw. And Blasphemous Act. Nothing surviving Blasphemous Act. Is there a 14/14? There might be a couple 14/14s running around, but most of the creatures in Commander are 13 or less. Then I've got a couple single target, Hero's Downfall and Terminate. Very important cards, especially Hero's Downfall, Planeswalkers of Plenty, and Barter and Blood for early game, making my opponent sacrifice his first 2 creatures. And then I've got my doesn't really fit a category, utility annoying spells that will hopefully make my opponent concede, because I think a large portion of these wins are going to be with my opponent being like, fuck this is an annoying deck, Plasticactus, you're a piece of shit. And then they'll give their own monitor to the finger, but the joke's on them, because I can't see it. So their monitor is going to be the one with its feelings hurt, not me. Anyway, Blood Chief Ascension. So this is going to trigger pretty quickly. This is going to trigger pretty quickly, and then whenever something dies, or he plays a spell, he's going to be taking 2 damage, and I'm going to be getting 2 life. So in a deck like this, where this is just going to come online so fast, I feel like it's a must include. 2 damage might not seem like a whole lot, but the life gain is pretty relevant for me, and it could just be enough after like 4 or 5 turns to squeak out that win. Phyrexian Arena, I need the card draw. Browbeat, I need the card draw. Or alternatively, 5 damage to my opponent. I won't complain. Past in Flames, I got a lot of stuff I'm going to want to replay from the graveyard, so I can do it twice with Past in Flames. No Mercy. So that's some protection right there. Something does damage to me, it will be the last time. Death Pits of Wrath. Yeah, nothing like doing Magma Quake for 1 and killing everything because of Death Pits of Wrath. Painful Quandary. They're going to be discarding cards or taking 5 damage left or right. I've played this card a bunch of times before. It doesn't really ever disappoint when I get it out. And then Wound Reflection, a new one. I haven't played with this card before. I'm not certain it's going to work. But when it does work, if it does work, it's going to work really well. Imagine, if you will, Wound Reflection on turn, let's just say 4, because I have a lot of ramp. Turn 5, I blast them for 6 or 7, and then they get hit again for 6 or 7 with one of these. I think it's living the dream, yes, but it's a reasonable thing that might happen. I have a lot of enchantments. I feel like Mogis is going to turn into a creature a lot of times. And a 7/5 indestructible. That sounds pretty nice. All right, so that's the deck tech. Let's play some games, shall we?